Hello and welcome back to Uplift Lifestyle Podcast. I am sitting here today with Vanessa Grutman, and I'm so beyond excited to just dive right into all things frequency, energetics, embodiment, identity codes. We've been chatting before we hit record, and I felt this very strong resonance with Vanessa. We were just kind of chatting about how we know each other and how that all came to be. But as of recently, you just moved to Miami. You
Hmm.
were like, I need the sun codes. I'm getting out of the density. I'm going into like a higher frequency environment. And I want to just start there. I want to start with who must you become to be the type of woman that's just like, I've got ties here. I've got my family. I've got my kids. I've got a career here. Like, I've got all the things that most human beings would go, oh, I'm really set here. Like, why would I leave? The woman you became to be like, I'm going to Miami because that's where my soul is calling me. Can we just go right in? Like, how did you become this woman that's just like, I'm moving to Miami because I want to?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me and for reaching out because that's really how it happened. You reach out, you're like, hey, I'm really vibing. Can we hop on a call? I was like, yeah, let's do it. Um, yeah, well, who did I become? That's a good question. And I mean, I don't know that there's a quick answer. What I know is that we become the compounding effect of all our life experiences, of course. But for me, 2025 has been a dramatic, pivotal year where I've pivoted many things, including my brand, including the essence of my work. And at one point, I started to notice that with all these changes that we're basically moving towards more light, more light in all sense of the word, more frequency alignment, more energetic embodiment. I started to realize that there was this weight that was holding us back. And I'm very grateful because my husband and we co-created in our business. He left his corporate job. And I feel like now that I look back, this has been a long time coming. So
Mm,
last year in 2024, he left his 23-year corporate job as an actuary to come and help me in the business because he was seeing like, oh my gosh, you need help with operations and finance. And so he left his tied to the 3D
yeah.
and created this freedom. And so here we are, both of us creating this virtual brand, this virtual business that is providing us the freedom that we desire, but we're not acting on it. We're
Mm,
sitting and staying in a place that doesn't feel aligned anymore. We can notice it in our kids. We started to notice that our kids were really bored in the school system. It felt like
mm,
not that my kids are geniuses, but they were just like not stimulated to their
mm,
potential. And so we started to pick up on that. We started to pick up on some of the conversations also that were allowed at school. We're like, no, we're not comfortable with that, not aligned. So we started to just open ourselves to what else is out there. And then it became like everything came to us. It
yeah,
like
of
it
course.
all came to us. We didn't chase any of this. We just agreed, like we're really truthful and authentically we said, okay, we're not okay to be in Canada because we're miserable 6 months out of the year, and we're not okay with tolerating that anymore. It's also not aligned with what I'm preaching. It's not in
Yeah.
integrity with what I'm preaching women to step into their sovereignty, to live a life by design. Here I am tolerating not
Yeah.
living a life by design. So that doesn't work. And it started to become really pressing and really heavy. And so what we did is we took the kids here in Miami in January. We found like the school found me literally in an ad. I
Mm,
saw a school that is like a 2 hour a day of academics, and then
mm,
they work on building businesses and projects. And I was like,
wow.
my gosh, that's what my kids would be loving. They would love this. And so the school, like I started getting ads randomly, and I was like, okay, that's where we need to go. So January we went, we tested it. The kids loved it so much.
Mm,
Right when we got home, we got in touch with an attorney and we said, okay, help us move the business, figure out the visa, all the stuff. We're moving. And Miami was very clear to us. We've been coming here forever, and it was calling us.
wow.
I didn't quite know why. Now,
Yeah.
now I'm starting to understand, but it just felt like we need this sun, we need the sun, we need the water, we need this also. um Here in Miami, it is such a entrepreneurial um hotspot, literally internationally, not just
Mm.
for the US, but there's people from literally everywhere in the world. So it's very vibrant. In fact, if you've been to Miami before, most people say it's electric the minute they land. Usually, most people get a headache, and it's like the energy is so strong. And if you have
Mm.
not done the work, it will literally eat you right up. But I feel like we arrived here fully primed, fully open, fully ready.
Mm.
So yeah, like the woman you must become is literally not tolerating anything that's out of alignment with your values, with your purpose. And that
Ah.
is hard. It like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, like it wasn't easy by any means.
Yeah.
So but here we are.
I love it, Vanessa. It's so incredible, inspiring, and I'm personally super inspired because as I was talking to you about before we hit record, my husband and I are now, and we just got married, everyone knows, so they're like, it's so
Yes.
funny saying husband. I like it though.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just this deep intention of like we can create anything, we can live how we want to live, we are the designers, there are no limits, this is an infinite playground. So why would we spend even a moment of our time in something that doesn't feel like a full fuck yes, this is it, this is so it. And I resonated so much with what you just shared of like you're living this dream, you've created this freedom, you could literally be, do, and have anything and anywhere in the world. And yet you're settling and you're tolerating something that's actually not the highest frequency for you. It's not your highest truth. It's not to say it's for everyone. And for those of you listening, this doesn't mean, you need to up and leave Canada if that's where you're listening from. It's where are you tolerating a standard that's lower than your highest in any part of your life right now,
That's it.
relationship, finances, career, whatever it is. And we do this work, Vanessa, every single day with our clients and we hold them to the highest standard. And I often, and I wrote about this in my book, it's like just because I'm living maybe your dream life doesn't mean I'm living my dream life. Like I'm just getting started. There's so many other untapped potential realities that I'm here for. And we have to get so real with ourselves. We have to really look in that mirror moment to moment of every day and go, where is there incongruence? Because those tiny little incongruencies have massive, massive detriment to our results and to our reality, especially when you're playing at the highest level of impact. So I want to kind of shift gears in a little bit. I want to talk about what is your, and we can go back and forth, but what's your current work right now? Like every single day, you personally, I don't mean what you do in your career for your clients. I mean, what's your work right now?
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
always have something that we're present to, even if it's just for a few days. In this moment, at this time, when we're recording, what are you present to right now?
Yeah, I mean, so since I've been moving, it's been really interesting. I felt like we have been lifting, the Russian dolls. Like we just
Mm-hmm.
keep lifting more and more.
Yeah.
Um, and every time we lift one, we find a new layer of sovereignty and freedom. And like you said, we're making ourselves available to infinite potentiality and realities. And it's just blown my mind how the minute we got here, this massive veil got lifted on what looked like, oh, we can't do this because we don't have that. Like a lot of heavy structures
Yeah.
that are imposed on us, like from so early. And so what I've been working on and what I'm working on currently is like removing any attachment that I still have to the old system, to the old
Yeah.
paradigm. And it literally feels like this Russian doll because every time I lift one, like, ah, okay, we don't have to worry about that now. Like we're fully free. Like I don't need
Yeah.
to do that. And then like,
Yeah.
oh, there's that part still that's showing up. Like there's
Yeah.
this part that you're still believing in the illusion and you're still feeding it. Okay, we're lifting that. And it's such interesting work, right? Because that's where we realize how much of our freedom, how much of our power, how much of our true desires we have like given away. whether we realized it or not, but we did. So it's really
Hmm.
interesting when you do the reverse work and you reclaim all of those parts back. And so that's
Yes.
kind of the work I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And it's been really interesting when we landed here. We at first we had no social security number. Okay, well, try to, let's say, open a new phone line. Oh, you don't have a social security number. Like all these things were like, isn't that interesting? Like again, it's showing you all the pieces that um
Mhm.
like of the old, and
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
is there something else available? Let's choose a higher frequency or higher like potentiality. Like, is there something else available? Oh yeah, there's this shortcut. This particular person can help me with it. So, it's been really interesting to navigate that and like, oh, this person can open us a bank account and make us private. So it's just been
Yeah.
fascinating. So that's the work I'm doing because like you said,
Yeah.
again, if I've made all this work, if I've come all this way to come here and live a life by design, and if I go back into my old pattern, or if I go back into, incoherence and
Hmm.
I accept or tolerate, again, the old densities, what am I really doing? Like,
Yeah.
I just, right? So the move that we did here was a deep reset for us, but
Wow.
it's something that we didn't take lightly. Like we really looked at everything so that
Mm.
it would be a move of freedom. And to us, everybody's like, okay, like, are you gonna stay there now? Because we move a lot. Like, are you just gonna settle? And I'm like, I don't know, because now that I keep peeling back the Russian doll,
Yeah,
I need less and less. I'm less and less attached to a
totally.
particular location because I'm more and more free. So I don't know. I could go and live in Greece,
Yeah, yes, you could.
because that is calling me. I'm like, I don't know. And the school
Mm.
that we found for our kids is providing us that level of freedom. So I feel like we've also invested into like a parallel system that allows us to fully live in that freedom.
Wow. I'm so inspired by this personally, and I know everyone listening is. And I love how you mentioned like the depth and the detail and the refinement of the work, specifically where, you've moved to a new location, you've become the woman that can do that. You've done the work to be the person that's like, yeah, I'm doing this. It's here. And then you're there. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm moving to Miami next month. It's like, no, you're literally talking to me from there. You've done it. You've made the moves. And then how the old system, the old paradigm, the old programming tries to sneak its way in, and the level of like just fine tooth comb
Oh,
refinement that is necessary. Same but different, and I get it in my own reality here. It's so precise, and it's a conversation that if you're listening to this, it's because you're meant to be listening to this. It's you're on the frequency, you're on the level to be hearing it. But there really are no days off precise alignment, and you can just tell in this most subtle and the most sneaky way that an old timeline or an old paradigm or program will try to come in. But it's like there's like an old expression for it, but I think it's like something same or different clothing or whatever, and it's like
yes,
I forget what it is, but it's like wherever you go there you are. So you aren't willing to tolerate what you tolerated in Canada and just go, but there's sun in the sea here, so it's fine. It's like, no, no, no. We're creating an entirely new reality, an
that's it.
entirely new paradigm. And it just gets, I think, at the higher level, the higher impact, and I see this with my clients, I see this with the collaborators that I work with. It gets way sneakier. It's like if you think of it as the video game, it's like the way more challenging levels as you get higher. And it's not this obvious misaligned thing. Like to somebody, it would
Exactly.
be it would be like the most aligned thing to somebody else, right? But you're like, something's not quite right here. And I was actually just channeling to a client before I hopped on here, um, specifically for her and her career and what that looks like. But and she's in a more 3D career than we are, say. But it was still that like if any part of you feels like you have to like hype yourself up to do it, or you have to like really talk yourself into doing it, or you feel like you just have to like grin and bear it and do it and it's part of it. it's like, oh, I do this and then I get that. I do this and then I get that. It's like you're manipulating the hologram. And that's not what we're here for.
Yeah, you're
You're,
negotiating your truth.
yeah, totally. You're totally settling, you're totally tolerating in your language, and you're giving your power away. You're literally in those moments saying, I'm not in the power seat here. The system is. So I'll just do this and then I get that. And I know during the pandemic, I was someone who never got vaccinated. I chose not to.
Mhm.
And I heard a lot of people who I really respected too. They would say to me, "Oh, well, my freedoms." They would say like my freedom is more valuable, so I'm just going to get it so that I can get on the plane so that I can go there. And I'm thinking, to each their own, but from my highest level of alignment and my personal highest truth, that's that's playing the game versus completely creating your own new game and your own new reality, and you're just willing. And it's that's a great example, and I think that people are awakening to that even still, like they're having like this hindsight awareness of like, oh my God. But it's the same thing if like you arrive in a new country, you decide, oh, we're moving to Europe, oh, we're moving to Miami, oh, we're moving wherever, and then you still are playing by the same rules. You're literally communicating, I'm not in the power seat. I'm
That's
not the
it.
creator. You're
That's
just,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. And here's the really fascinating thing. Every time, like to take the example of a video game, every time you reach a new level, of course, there's new devils, but there's also people that have always been operating at that level. So it's like suddenly you realize there's a whole other dimension. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, you've been doing this all along and there's more, right? So every time you unlock a new level, you realize like, damn, there's already a ton of people playing at this level. What have I been doing feeling scared of doing this move? Like everybody's doing this. And then you reach this level and you're like, but what's the next one?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
already what I'm like, okay, but wait, what's the next one? Oh, okay, that's where people are playing. That's where they're putting their money. That's where they're investing. That's how they set up their businesses. That's how they're playing the game, quote unquote. And then it's just fascinating to me because here we are 10 levels lower. We thought this was it. And we thought that this was how life was defined and the box we needed to fit in. But when you get out of that box and you start reclaiming your power and your truth and you stop abandoning it, then you realize, holy cow, there's this whole world out there based on freedom. And there's so many people. And that's why I think those conversations that we're having are instrumental because then we're normalizing this. I
Hmm.
can't tell you
Yeah.
the number of hate and how I've triggered people and the level of projected fears I have received when we made this move.
Yeah, I bet.
From family, from extended family, from friends, from community, people, they just thought we were absolutely bananas. And I had done so much work at that point, I didn't really care. It's not about external validation anymore. It's what I feel. It's what I know is right for me and my family. And this was a decision that my kids were like heavily co-creators of as well. It's not something we imposed on them. And the proof of that is the minute we landed here after 2 weeks, we were like, wait a minute, how long have we like we had to actually pull out a calendar and be like, how long have we been here? It feels like we've always been here. Like
Yeah.
we literally entered a completely different timeline. And
Mm.
even our kids who cried so much and they were so sad of leaving their home that they loved, like we had a beautiful acreage property and they loved it and they were walking to school and like leaving was so hard. But the minute we crossed the border and when we got to this new home, it was gone.
Yeah.
And not and so they even said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about the house once."
Yeah.
Right? Like they were even blown away by that. And to me, I was like, okay, that's what happens when you step into full alignment and you literally enter a new, like there's a time warp available. It's like,
Yep.
oh, boom, here
Yep.
we go. We're in a new timeline. And I can even feel now there's like even more opening. But the
Totally.
interesting thing is once you get out of that box, not only do you enter a new timeline, but I- I'm just blown away also at, and this is particularly true if you're in Canada. Like, in Canada, it's just, I don't know, everything is small and we think small and don't shine too much. And people that are successful, there must be something wrong with them. They must be doing something sneaky. They must be evil. People that are successful. Anyway, in
Mm.
Quebec, it's pretty much like that.
Yep.
You're like laughed at, you're like your pointed finger to. Anyway, so it's like you always have to
Yep.
shrink. You always have to play small. You have like play it down, play it down. But the minute you arrive, like I arrived here, it's like the ceiling that I didn't even realize was still present because I thought I was out of the box when I was there.
Mm.
I
Mm.
arrived here and I'm like, oh, okay. Like there's like a brand new set of standards here because success is celebrated. Success is the lifeline of people living in Miami.
Mm.
Success is the standard.
Yep.
People are, but not in the way of like people are hustling, because Miami is very much, it's very, very cool because people are on the beach and taking phone calls. Like it's all about this life that is of purpose and alignment at the same time. It's not like, New
Mm.
York, for example, which is more hustling.
Mm.
It's very cool. And people are coming, like there's the Latino community is huge here. And so there's like this more laid back way of doing business, but ultimately success is
Mm.
celebrated.
Yep.
Visibility is celebrated. Your voice, your opinion, your truth is celebrated. It's just a whole other level that has been like I've had to calibrate to that. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. Like I'm not meeting
Yeah.
the edges. I'm not meeting them. So what does that mean? It means I'm free to go. I can go bigger. I can go brighter. I can shine my light and it's safe to do that. In fact, not only is it safe, it is needed.
Mm. Wow.
So
Yes.
that's been like the biggest mind-blowing thing that has happened to me since I'm here. I'm like, I keep like waiting for the edge, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, okay, it's not there. We get to keep going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We get
Yeah.
to keep amplifying the field and making it bigger and the land is taking it. Like the people are taking like
Wow.
it's receptive, So
Yeah.
it's really hard to explain, but I love it.
I feel with every cell in my body what you're describing, and I try to travel a lot so that I expand my consciousness. And
Mhm,
even just on our most recent adventure on our honeymoon and meeting people from across the world, lots of Australians are in Greece, and
mhm.
Australians have that same kind of vibe as Americans. They're a little more rebellious. They don't really give a fuck, and they're more audacious. And in that is authenticity, truly, right? It's not the censorship. It's not the good girl. It's not the, humble, like we're so praised to be here in Canada. It's like this,
Sorry.
yeah, the
Sorry.
sorry. Yeah, it really is like there's a genuinity in that brashness, in that authenticity, in that audacity that I mean, I wrote the book on Fuckwithable, so I'm like that. I get it, but I know you're that type of person. So I can really hear the codes and feel the codes of like imagine what's possible in an environment that actually supports that versus an
That's it.
environment where you're the leader in it, where you're the one who's like, guys, come on, like let me show you. But instead you're being mentored by your environment, literally.
Everything is a teacher and a mirror, right? And that's the calibration in itself.
Mm.
Yeah, like my kids at school where they were before, they were called, oh yeah, like Thomas the millionaire, and because we had like a big home and stuff like that. I'm like, how is that impacting him? He's like 8 years old, and
Mm.
like that just tells you how deep this is running. Because obviously it's not
Yeah,
coming from the kids, it's coming from the
totally.
parents.
Totally.
And I was just like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of having to like play it down and play it safe and like keep it quiet and not celebrate and not shine. It's just that's not what I'm here to do because that
Mm.
doesn't help anyone. That
Yeah.
doesn't help anyone. And especially when the world feels, this chaotic, people can collapse very quickly back to fear, back to like, but what can I do? I can't, have no control, and like, full disempowerment. And I always say it is precisely at that moment that your light is the most needed. It is precisely at that moment that you have to stop tolerating. And that's how you make a difference, is by sharing your truth,
Mm,
by getting back to, okay, how can I get back in this,
mm.
the driver's seat of my own life?
Totally. And to the video game example you talked about earlier of like when you landed in Miami and you were like calibrating to the level that the people are, not everyone, but the people you're engaging with are just at, and they've been at for many years, and it's just like what they're doing. And then the sky's not even the limit, and there's so many other levels available. That that shift in consciousness of being in a reality and a realm and an environment where you're like a small fish, kind of, right?
That's
You're like,
it.
yeah, you're
That's
like,
it.
whoa, there's like all these big fish, and I'm this small fish. But back home, I was this big fish and I was misunderstood for it. And now I'm out in the ocean and I'm like, oh, yeah, no, this is where we belong. That is something that if you're listening to this right now, you're already getting so many codes. You've been installed in the best way ever
It's
already.
locked and loaded. Let's
It's
go.
it's so locked in, and you're so right to be here listening to this and re-listening and recoding this. But imagine your reality right now. You're listening to this because you are a rare, unique person. You are a really rebellious person, an audacious person, an authentic person. Like you're not here listening to this conversation with us because you are, I don't even want to say because you're living a normal life. You might still be living a normal life, but you want to be living an abnormal, incredible life by design. So you really have to get real with yourself. And everyone's moment is when their moment is, and that's all predetermined in destiny. But if this
Mhm.
is your moment of like, I'm no longer tolerating, to use your word tolerating, which I really like, I'm no longer tolerating this. And this is my moment actually where I receive these codes that have been installed and I choose this higher path. And I'm now going to feel the vulnerability of, instead of being that, the leader who's like, okay, I'm doing this, and then you're wrong for it and it's weird, you're actually just going to be in an environment where everyone's doing it, everyone's successful, everyone's thriving, right? It's like when you're sitting up in first class and you're just like, oh, we're all thriving up here, and we've all gotten here however we've gotten here. Like some people are born into it, some people are
Yeah.
new money, online money, inheritance, some people are just upgraded because that's their destiny that day. But you realize that this is just a new way of being, and this gets to be a new standard. And that's just one example, but it's very different than being back in economy, being like, oh, I wish I was up there. Or I should be up there, but I'm not up there. You might get up there and be like, oh my God, they have, a designer bag, or oh my God, they have this and I don't have this. Or what you'll often actually see in first class is like, oh, there's someone wearing like the most basic outfit I've ever seen because they don't give
Yeah.
a fuck. But
Yeah.
you
They
know what
don't
I mean?
care.
Like you might actually be a small fish. So like you and your husband being these big business millionaires in Canada, you're now getting to Miami and you're kind of like, oh my God, like there's billionaires everywhere. Like I feel
Yeah,
like
that's
a
it.
fish.
I landed here and calibrated to the billionaire frequency. That's
Totally.
literally what happened.
Yeah.
And
I
I
feel
always
that.
say, try to be the smallest fish in everywhere. Even, I've put myself in rooms and in coaching containers where I was so small, but that's how I got the stretch. That's how I got to borrow someone else's evidences that it's possible. And I think that's the idea. That's why you and I in our work, it is the time to like not shrink or hold back on it. It is this time to show that it's possible,
Hmm.
because so many people are being tapped on the shoulder right now, right now, right now. And like you say, if you're listening to this, there's a good chance it's like your body is vibrating right now, because
Hmm.
there's voltage, there's energy, there's truth there. Your body knows before your head. Um,
Hmm.
and when we get to, I think we're also standing at the edge, at the threshold right now of like, we got to believe in ourselves and we got to believe
Mm,
that is possible without immediate proof. We have been
mhm.
raised in a instant gratification system starting from school. You know, if you have your good grades, you're going to get to the next level. And then we enter the corporate world. If you work this number of hours, you'll be paid this by hour. And then if you do your great job, you'll get a bonus and maybe you'll get a raise, right? So we've been used to this instant gratification of output equals I'm going to get to become someone. And now we're at a stage where all of that is like crumbling to pieces. None of
Yeah.
it is holding because people are like, wait a minute, like I'm worth more. I don't want to do this. Like, what is like, so people are like disengaging, unplugging from the matrix. So what's left? Well, trusting that
Mm,
you get to do that. Trusting without instant gratification, without
mm,
instant proof. You get to just trust because you are the one who has this vision. So whatever vision you keep having and what you were saying, you know, I often describe it as you may be living this quote unquote normal life, but there's an ache in every part of you. And I know for me, the ache came with a lot of guilt. When I felt that ache at first, I was kind of falling in my burnout. I had just sold my company and my first company, and I thought, I should be the happiest girl on the planet right now. I have two healthy kids, a wonderful husband. We have money. We get to live in this beautiful home. You know, we were in Vancouver at the time. Like, what is wrong with me for wanting more? And that was really what was kind of playing in my head. Like there was an ache. I knew there was more for me out there, but I couldn't quite name it, and I didn't
mm.
have evidences next around me of it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I had to really decide to, okay, I get to go first. I get to
Hmm.
trust that whatever vision, whatever ache, whatever desire for impact, for service that I have running through my veins means it's not the end of me, it's actually the becoming of me. And I get to trust that. And the more I started aligning myself with people who were living the life that I want to live, instead of taking advices from family members or people that just project their fears, I started taking advices from
Hmm.
people that were two steps ahead of me in the life, doing the life and building the business that I wanted to build. And
Yeah.
then I started to borrow their proofs
Yeah.
temporarily while I was making my own.
Totally. Totally.
And that's why our work is so important right now. And if you're listening, your work is so important, and your codes and your unique wisdom and the hardships that you've had, there's solutions that you're sitting on that people are needing right now because you are the living proof that there is light at the end of the
Hmm.
tunnel. You are the living proof. And so it is not the time to shrink back. It is not the time to collapse back into fear because that's an old programming. It's
Hmm.
time to find within ourselves at the deepest of our soul and our core that knowing and reconnecting with that and being like, I get to have this vision because I get to.
Yeah.
This vision finds me because I am. Like, there's
Yeah.
no more justification, there's no more negotiation needed. I get to receive this vision and see it because it's mine.
Mm.
Period. And then I just
Period.
go. I just go. And I'm not negotiating my way through waiting for a bonus or extra money. I get to live in full resonance, full alignment. Then money finds me.
Hmm. Wow. So many codes. So many codes. Oh,
Mhm.
I know that you listening are lit up and feeling the frequency of this and this power. And I want to go on it, and I know we should probably be wrapping up, but I have a question.
Yes.
So, as someone who is married to a logical corporate person, so he's now working within your company.
Yeah.
It's a shared team vision, obviously. But what were the like years leading up to him leaving his corporate company? What kind of level of conviction did you have to hold for him to meet you to be like, I share the vision, let's fucking go? Because what I love about men is like they love logic, they love results, they love to like see that evidence. And they're not necessarily born with the same intuitive nature of like we know, we know, we know. And how do you get your super successful, badass husband on board? I'm asking personally because I have a very high earning, very successful husband, and he believes in my vision, totally shares it. And yet although he's doing the best that he could do in his career, like literally, there's still all these rules. Like even when we're away in Greece, it's like, okay, well, we have to get back now because I have to be there on this day, where I could be in Greece still. Like I'm pretending I'm in Greece. I'm literally wearing my Greece outfit because I'm like, I'm not ready to be back yet.
I believe you. You are in
Talk to,
Greece.
totally. Talk to me and to us about holding that conviction and the bridge of incidents perhaps within the like years to months to weeks that shifted things where he's like, I'm quitting my corporate job and let's
Hmm.
fucking go.
Well, here's the really kind of interesting truth is the less you do something about that and the more you trust that the universe will take care of it, the more it will happen. So this is kind of I keep teaching women like get out of the way because
Yeah,
we tend to want to be like, do this and do that and hire this coach and do this and like we want to coach them basically, right?
totally.
Um, and it became very clear to me that I was not going to do that, that
Mm,
I was going to actually double down on my own truth and
yeah.
my own conviction. And if I could reach a point where not only do I have tangible proof for his logical brain to be able to breathe, but also like unshakable conviction about the work I'm doing and the impact I'm here to have, I knew that he would have no choice. I mean, he would have two choices: either meet me where I am and where I'm going, or find someone else. Like,
Yeah.
because to me, I was like, this is where I'm going
Yeah.
and you have some work to do and you can feel it, and
Yeah.
this was really interesting. The universe really did a fantastic job there. In the thick of the pandemic, he was leading this really big team, and we were not vaccinated and he was having to like fire people for not being vaccinated, and he like that started to be like, Mayday, we have a problem here, like these rules are not working for me anymore. And he started to see like through like all of like, oh, he was promised this, this raise or this new title, and this would not happen. Oh, it's not the year, but it'll happen next year. So he started to see how his power had been given away, and he started to become really mad about him on that. And so again, I just sat there eating my popcorn.
Mm.
I was like, perfect. This is happening exactly how it should.
Fascinating.
He started to get really mad, and then
Yeah.
for 8 months in a row, his body went into full shutdown. And that was the last piece of it. He was
Yeah.
sick. And my husband has never been sick. We've been together 18 years. Like, I think he's had one cold. But for 8 months in a row, it was like sore throat to the point he had to have antibiotics. And like, it was like just the craziest stuff. Like knee that just like broken knee, back pain, like insanity. And he was just in shambles. And I kept telling him, what's happening? Your body's speaking to you. And so that, like, I would just stand there as the light that I am, not trying to save him, but just gently telling him, there's nothing wrong with you. You are just at the end of that timeline. And it's time for you to close that loop. It's not giving you anything that's positive anymore. So, in the meantime, I worked on my own becoming and I reached my first $1 million. And that was, I think, at that moment, he was like, oh, wait a minute. We can actually make a lot more than me living this life as a slave. Like, that's where
Yeah.
it clicked for him, the potential of it. He
Yeah.
was like, oh, so wait a minute. You're making like six figures every month? And here I am, like, yes, having a great salary, but like literally dying. Like
Yeah.
literally dying, having
Yeah.
absolutely no quality of life. And so that's what it took for him. He had to get to his bottom, and I did not save him out of it because I know how the bottoms are so important. They're
Yeah.
like the like they're so needed. It's the void that we all need to find our truth back. And so I just held him in that. I was not worried at any point. And I think that also helped him to be like, okay, if she's not worried, maybe this is okay. Maybe I'm not gonna
Yeah,
die. And I just would be like, hey, I think this book would help you right now. And I would just like slide some books, but I would keep going and hold the frequency. And I'm not gonna lie, at many points it was like, you're going too fast. And I was like literally disorienting him. And he was like, you're going too fast, slow
totally,
down. And I
totally.
was like, no, I'm not slowing down. This is where
Yeah,
I'm going. And then whew, he finally he met me exactly where I needed him to meet me.
yeah.
But when he made the decision and left the corporate, that's really where he noticed the imprint it had left on him. His confidence had taken such a hit because he realized, like, shit, I have not been making my own, like fully my own decisions for years because there's
Yeah.
always layers of approvals. There's always like,
Oh,
if I need something, I'll call the IT, the HR, like, and then when he joined me, he was like, okay, but like, who's going to train me? I was like, Google and ChatGPT. Have fun because I have no time. This is where I'm
yeah.
going. Like, you're in charge of this, that. And he was like, what? Like, and he, like, his confidence was so wobbly. And I was like, I believe in you. I'm like, I'm not worried whatsoever. But I think that's where he realized, like, oh, okay, entrepreneurship, there's like, it's a whole other level in itself. It's such a calibration for men
Mm,
to be
yes.
holding, because that's their, that's their strength, is to be holding leadership and vision. But there's no safety net this time. So the safety net is yourself. It's your self-belief. It's your confidence.
Yeah.
It's your knowing that this is going to work. And that's
Mm,
what I told him. I said, I need you to be at that level of confidence for me so I can surrender in my feminine and be, in my magic. I need you. So we often joke that I'm front of the house, he's back of the house, but he's since like
totally.
he's taken like, yeah. So it's magic because,
This is so good.
but it definitely wasn't pink and rosy, and it definitely did not happen overnight. It took, a year probably of transition. But now, like, we're going. Now we're
Yeah,
going. And now he's like, speaking to ex-colleagues or people, and
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe they're still
There's
playing this.
still,
I can't believe they're still saying yes to this. I
yeah,
can't believe they're not seeing it. And so for him now, it's like it blows his mind the same way my mind was blown looking at him believing this stuff, right? So it's just, again, when you move your reality, there's new dimensions that become available. And when you reach these new dimensions, you're like, how is it possible that I was believing this to be my truth. I
yeah.
thought that this was my life, that it had to be played in this certain way. And that's the programming. It's so deep.
Wow. Vanessa, that is so resonant for me. I'm so grateful for that riff. I just this morning, or was it last night, I was praying and I'm always just my mentor is like just God, like straight up, just
Source. Yes.
constant, right?
Yeah.
And it was it was like that I'm always looking for incongruencies in my life. Like where okay, it's so good, but like is there anything that's not quite it? Because let's shift that and then let's get it back to being so good. And it was like that it's this constant, okay, I want to go here next month. I want to go on this trip. And then it's I want to go with my husband because he's who I want to spend all my time with, my
Of course.
best friend. I don't want to go with a girlfriend. I have hundreds of girlfriends I could go with. I don't want to go with them. I want to go with you, right? And then it's, oh, well, I can't take that time off because XYZ stories. And it's like those are the little incongruencies. And as always in our timeline, as we quantum leap to the new realm, it gets really uncomfortable when we're meant to see it as no longer congruent. So I've been noticing that. And then it's like the old version of me wants to coach, wants to let's initiate change, like wants to get into
Oh
the
my
old,
gosh.
into
Yes,
that
I know.
masculine, right?
It's
Like I want to get it.
itching.
It's so like, oh, I see exactly this and I can see how we can, but it's like I pause and I go, that's not quite it though. Like that would be a manipulation of the hologram. That would be me trying to
Forcing.
manipulate from ego and control and force, and it's just not it anymore. Like I'm allergic to doing that. I can't do that. So I drop into prayer and it's and it was a very strong just message of everyone in your reality is a reflection of you. We're all one. There's no separation, right? We all know this,
Yes.
but
Yep.
we have to live it. We are all one. So if I refine in my individuation to oneness and I just dial in of like exactly what you said, and I feel like my prayer yesterday in getting the message that I got from source was just confirmed by exactly what you said, by just like I just doubled down on me, and that's exactly what I was guided to do and what I know to do. But to get that extra, like, this is the path, just double down on your alignment, your congruence. It will get so undeniable, and it already is. And I love these moments of the last many months too. I've fully released like let me show him the results. Let me show
Yeah.
him the receipts. Let me show him the evidence, so he starts to believe that he doesn't have to work in that way anymore. That even felt like a ego sort of thing. So I just completely dropped that, and it was just like I'm just gonna like be it. Like I'm just gonna live it. It's like, oh, we want to do this? Okay, no problem. Oh, you want to do this? No problem. I have the time, I have the money, I have the energy. I'm healthy, I'm
That's the dream.
glowing. And we got it all. So it's like that just becomes undeniable. You're going to bed every night with this queen. You're eventually going to be like, I need to be the king because this is a fucking queen right here. And it just gets so clear. And yeah,
That's it. They're gonna
oh,
rise. That's just in their veins. But often we get in the way. We don't let
totally.
they need to have this like, oh my gosh, like look at her, look at where she's going. Like, oh my gosh, she's going places. And I better be next to her, right? Like that's kind of the feeling that I sensed in him. And
Yeah.
I was just like, staying on my throne,
Yep.
not
Yep.
saving because that is mothering. That is the wounded feminine. That
Not
is
it.
not, that's like just no, that's a no. So, but the
Yeah.
caveat, I'm going to warn you that
Give it to me.
because that's really big for man is they have been ingrained to be provider
Totally.
provider
Totally.
energy. And
Yep.
when we quote unquote retire our husbands, it takes a hit on them, on their masculine energy. And so I know for him, it's taken a while. And we've talked a lot about, okay, let's define providing because, financial is just one part
Mm.
of the providing energy. It's not just that. Like, I care more about you providing like safety and like just power and
Mm.
you got us and the kids and being with them and making sure that they have a present father and involved in play and like the providing is so much deeper than just money because
Yeah.
actually I wouldn't want a husband that's never there and just sends me cash. I don't want that
Mm.
because I'm not going to feel safe.
Yeah.
Money does, like, it's all an illusion. Money is
Yeah.
energy anyway. It's not going to bring me the safety that my feminine needs.
Mm.
So I'm just bringing in that because it's very strong. It's like they're so wired for it. And then
Very.
to say, you know what, like your confidence doesn't have to take a hit. You still get to provide in different ways. And now we're in this full act of co-creation. I always remind him, like, no, you might not be leading the calls or doing the mentorship, but you're the one holding the fort behind. I can't do it alone. So you get to provide
Yeah.
as much as
Absolutely.
the money that comes in. It's we've co-created it. So
Yeah. 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 Oh, totally. Totally. And I even feel like even just as Mitch was leaving for work today, he's just like, I'm like, I don't want you to leave. Like every time he leaves for work, I get all sad and I'm just like, don't leave. And it's like this whole thing every morning. And
and he probably is like, damn, what am
yeah,
I doing with my life?
totally. And on his way out, he's just like, he's like, I don't remember his exact words, but it was very like, yeah, like this is not forever. Like this cannot be forever. And we've had those conversations for a long time now. And it's just like that dialed, like holding, being the light, being the embodiment, being the inspiration by literally just being it. And that's for everything. Like it gets entangled when it's your husband or your life partner or your soulmate, but it's like I wouldn't hold my client's hand. Why am I I
That's
wouldn't
it.
we
That's
wouldn't do it like that. We would just embody it, integrate, be the frequency. So like why would it be any different with our husband? But it gets entangled and those are those sneaky little wow.
That's it. And really ultimately what it is, and we know it because we go through it with each of our own calibration. It's an identity upgrade. And when we do an identity shift, it's a transition. It's a transition for them
Absolutely.
also, like to not be defined by that title, but not be defined by that big earning check, not be
Yeah.
defined by, the rules of the corporate world. And that's big. For men, it's a lot bigger than I expected. I did
Mm,
not anticipate it to actually be so deep. It was like literally holding like a child and being
yeah.
like, okay, let's start to walk again. Like that's literally how it felt because
Wow.
like he had no, after 23 years, that's all you know of yourself, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be interesting too when this happens in divine timing for my husband because his career, although it's like safe and it's very high earning, it's a very unique career. It's a very like niche career. And that's all people talk to him about is his career. It's
That's
all
it.
people talk to him about. So
That's
his
it.
identity is so ingrained in it.
Yes.
And I can just, as you were speaking there, I'm like, oh, I can also see how that would be an edge. Like, even though I think I have the coolest career, I'm like, guys, I'm a best-selling author. Like, I make money because of a book I wrote 2 years ago. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm a speaker. I do frequency transmissions for my fucking Monday to Friday day-to-day career. Like, I do the cool shit. And no one's asking me about my job. They're asking him. You know what I mean?
Of
So
course,
it's
because
gonna be
not everyone is also able to handle that much light
oh,
because it's showing them where they're not holding their own light, right? So it is
totally.
like what we do is super triggering. And for men to be like, because, this is also what I've realized. It's really hard to explain what we do in like two sentences, black or white. It doesn't,
Totally.
it's a lot of grays of gray, shades of gray. And
Lots of shades of gray. Yeah.
right? So for him even to not be able to have a bit of an elevator speech on what is it
Yeah,
that we do, it's like it's still like, oh, okay, like right, it's still shaky. So I think that takes a while. And I mean, I've noticed now that it's a lot better. But I can see that for sure. That's something to
totally.
consider. And that's
Yeah,
okay. That's something to, again, no need to judge it, no need to label it. Just know that it's good to hold space around that.
absolutely. Beautiful. Okay, the way I want to wrap up this conversation, even though I don't want to wrap it up, but I know that, when we're speaking in transmission of frequency, we have to be intentional in timing because we need to recalibrate after.
Hmm.
But the one thing that I want to close out on, and something I'm sure I know you probably get faced with every single day in the best way, like it gets reflected back to you because it gets reflected back to me every single day, and I'm sure it does to you every single day just because I see it in you. It's this glow. So everywhere I go every single day, people are just like, "Oh my God, like you're glowing. Like you're glowing. You just get prettier, you get like healthier, fitter, and they want my answers. Like they want to know like what's your workout routine? What are you eating?" And I'm like, I'm literally eating whatever the fuck I crave that day, and I'm going to Pilates maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 months. Like I don't have a routine. I don't have rituals. I'm in just full alignment with what I want and what I need. And it really is a frequency game. When your frequency is dialed and you're aligned, you just shine. But I want you to riff a little bit about that for you because you are just shining. If you're just listening to this podcast, go look up Vanessa Grutman on Instagram and you will see a shining, glowing goddess.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
I want to riff on that because as women, we're, in modern society, it's like, don't talk about looks, don't talk about that, but it's undeniable. Like, you just get better every moment when you're focused on frequency. I'll be 90 years old and I'll be fucking glowing because of frequency. Do you know what I mean? And same as you, like I know you have two kids, like I know you're older than me probably just based on your life story, but it's like you are fucking glowing. So let's talk about that because it's undeniable.
Oh my gosh, I love it. What a way to end with a punch.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's what I've come to realize and what I help my clients do. We when I started doing this work, I remember I had a healer that told me, "Girl, you are in cement up to your neck. You are under so many layers of costumes and masks that you can't like your
Wow.
body doesn't even know who it is." And I was like,
Wow.
"What is she talking about?" And of course, after when I hit my burnout, I was like, "Oh, I think that's what she was referring to." But I was so deep under deep layers of self-protection. And I always talk about these masks who basically emit false light. These
Mm,
masks of faking it, performing the good girl, the mother, the one who saves everyone, the one who goes, gets looks after everyone. That's false light. It's not
yep.
truth. It is masks that we have seen our mothers, because our mothers are the queens of that. They are in the generation that was sort of in between, and they've been silencing themselves most of their lives. So we took that as a model. And
Mm,
when we take on that, what that means is we think that we are not enough to begin with, right? We think that our frequency, we probably don't even know that we have a frequency, but we think that our light is not enough to get us where we want to go. We think that our codes and our light and our uniqueness is not enough to get us the money that we crave and be of service. We think that our uniqueness is a problem, right? So we then start shape shifting. We start wearing these costumes and these masks so that we can belong. But this actually brings a false light, meaning there's a distortion. People can't quite put words on it, but when you enter a room, like I mean, it's like I have X-ray vision. I can see it. I'm like, ooh, okay, there's a lot of like faking here. And what
yeah.
this does is it actually kills you on the inside. It actually kills your glow. It kills your body because your body will start gaining weight just out of protection. You'll
Yep.
start buffering basically in your field. You're literally your body, because it knows it's not resonance. It knows it's not truth. It will start buffering on the outside.
Yep.
And so, your cells will start shrinking on the inside because you cannot shine with all of these costumes. It doesn't work. Light doesn't go through. And so this is what I've come to learn is when you actually, that Russian doll, when you peel back those layers and you get back to the core and you remember like, oh, of course I'm enough because I am. And I made it all the way here. I am a miracle. So I get to share my light from that place. And I get to have courage and energetic commitment and say yes to my vision again and again and again, even when I don't have instant gratification. I get to really become so good at honoring my intuition, my feeling, my body, my truth,
Mm,
that the costumes don't fit anymore. You literally like they rip out. And then your cells, your soul is like, hallelujah.
yep.
Because
Yep.
it's like we are seen, it is safe, we can like our heartbeat, like everything starts reorganizing at a cellular biological level. I mean, I certified myself as an integrated health practitioner just to figure out what the heck was wrong with me. And that's when I realized like, oh, the energetic space is always the root cause. I thought for a while it
Always.
was parasites and liver, all that. Yes, but there's always a layer behind, and that's the hiding. And so, no wonder you're glowing because you don't care about, well, you don't need external validation to confirm that you are great. You know you are a queen. You
Mm,
don't need all these things outside of you to
yeah.
prove you that you're enough. You just know it. But
Yeah.
that takes a while. And it takes
Mm,
women like us that have actually mastered that remembrance. For me, it actually like that level of knowing really landed when I went to Egypt earlier this year. It was like
mm,
boom, a brick wall. And I was like, what am I doing? And then I unhooked all of these places where I still was waiting for external validation. And
mm.
then slowly I can feel like like still my body is like transmuting. I feel like my body is still like, oh, okay, it's even more safe now. There's like this layer that can go. And that
Mm.
you were asking what's the work I'm doing right now. That's also the work I'm doing right now. Like to just honor my body, honor my light, honor and really notice wherever my mind is still slipping in the old, like, oh, I don't like how this looks, or I don't like the fat I have here. I don't like, I notice myself, I'm like, okay, no, how can I honor the work it's
Mm.
doing? And then, trust that the more I can go back to this flow, the more it'll glow.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Fuck yeah.
it's like, I think for me, it's the work of like shedding the false light and then returning to our true light.
Yeah. Wow. Yep. I love that false light example. And I have so many, as you're describing it, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I see it in a lot of people, and I've seen it in myself for sure.
Oh
And
gosh, yes.
if you're listening to this and you're at the high level that you're encoding everything we're saying today, you haven't arrived. None of us have arrived. We're not sitting here telling you we've arrived.
No.
We're just sharing the light, being the light. And as you're talking about that unhooking, I'm like, and it's like what I described earlier. It's like, where is there incongruence? And it is, I know it's a privilege to be able to just sit. Like after this, I'm just gonna sit on my couch for like as long as I want, probably hours. I'll probably just sit there and drink tea for hours. And I'll just think, where in my life is there incongruence?
Hmm.
And and I know that that's a privilege, and that's not coming from like, how can I be better? I want more, so let me fix something. It's just like the privilege of time and space to be like, and with my clients, I call it a success inventory. We do it every day. Success inventory, where are we at in all these areas? And it's just the creating the space to do that. So as you're describing about, because someone would look at you and be like, I want to be her, like I want to be her. I want her life. I want to look like her. I want to be as successful as her.
Mhm.
And I'm saying that because I know people say that and think that about you because they do that about me.
Yeah,
And it's that authenticity of like, we fucking love our lives. We're living it. We're so embodied. We're here for it. And there's always a higher potential reality available.
the
And
Russian doll.
the
There's always a new layer.
there's
There's
a
always
new
a new
layer,
one.
there's a new level, and it just keeps getting better. And being willing to like look at that. And as you were describing, like the unhooking and the masks and all that, and it's just like, wow, like let's all take a moment today to really analyze our lives and where are we not in full congruence, in full alignment, in full purity in certain areas of our life. Maybe there's a certain person in your life where you kind of fawn or you put up some walls or there's fear there. Maybe there's an environment, right? It's like, how can you be that one that's like in any environment, in front of any person, I fucking shine. I just am. Like,
That's it.
that's freedom. That's it. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. It doesn't matter what you do if you can just shine that. So,
And that's
Vanessa,
exactly, just want to end on this.
yes.
When the world feels chaotic and it feels like we want to, you know, hide or collapse back to fear, this is precisely when your drop of, your one drop of frequency can create. If we all said, you know what, let's liberate ourselves. Let's go back to this, everything we've talked about. I'm going to remove this mask and trust that it'll help me and everyone around me, because that's how it works. Your drop of water may look like just a drop, but if we all put a drop all together at the same time, it does create a wave. And that's how we create this new frequency that we're all craving. That's how we create this new world that we're all craving. And so now is not the time to collapse. We've done it before in previous lifetimes, and we know how that ended. And now we've collected the wisdom. We have it in our DNA, in our cellular memory. It is time to activate it, bring it to life.
Mm.
And your drop of light is required now. So I just wanted to end on that.
Mm,
Ow.
that's so powerful. Let's all just drop in for a moment. If you can, close your eyes and just share frequency. Vanessa and I will just emanate the radiance. You receive and then emanate the overflow. What a gift and an honor to be in this space and time, to choose this time on earth together, and this sacred moment to drop in for this conversation. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you to all the spirit support that held this conversation. And thank you for listening. We love you. We love you. We love you.